back. We are back from our vacation. Your favorite Compas are back, and it is the first show of season 4 of Compas on the Beat. We started this back in 2001. We're still going strong. February was a huge month for the network, and we're already off to a fast start in March. Gilberto is back from the combine in Indianapolis. He'll share his takeaways from the week. We'll have a grand guest with Nick Shook of NFL.com joining the Lunes live show to break down his 2024 All-Combine team. Then we'll follow with my thoughts from the Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney press conference in Los Angeles. I was there covering it for Compas on the Beat, and it was entertaining, to say the least. All right, Gilberto, don't you have an engagement question for our viewers and or listeners?
Yes, I forgot. We usually do an engagement question of the week. We might have multiple this week because a lot of live shows here on Compas on the Beat. But Fernando, like you mentioned, I came back from Indianapolis covering the combine, and there's a lot of dumb questions out there, can I say, or stupid questions, whatever you want to say. But
there's no such thing as a stupid question.
No, yes, there is, and we'll get to it. But one caught my interest. Okay, sometimes there are good dumb questions, so I want to ask the viewers here on Compas on the Beat, because Malik Neighbors, the LSU wide receiver, was asked this question: if you had the opportunity to be an animal for 24 hours, which animal would you be? So Fernando, think about it and let me know in the comments right now, which animal would you be? Because Malik Neighbors had a good answer, and we'll talk about it in the intro.
That is very interesting, Gilbert, to say the least. But why don't you give us a little, you got something on your mind right now?
All right, well, usually we go for the promo and your brother's not around. Dan and Dago.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't do it. But I don't know. How about a little kind of half-ass promo here? Good month in February for the Fernando, we were there. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. That video, 1.4 million views, and I can't remember now, but it could be 1.4 right now. We're trying to get to 2 million views on that video, so check out all the content on the network. But it was pretty cool, Fernando. So, what do we have in the story here? We have Rampage Jackson, Rolly Romero, Tim Zhu, the Cake Boss. So all those interviews, check it out on Compas on the Beat YouTube channel. So that is my half-ass promo for the network.
Welcome, everybody, to Compas on the Beat. I'm Fernando Ramirez. I cover the Chargers for the Sporting Tribune. With me, as always, my co-host, my tag team partner, Gilbert Manzano. He covers the NFL for Sports Illustrated. What's up, bro?
What's up, Fernando? Yeah, we're trying new things here on Compas on the Beat, and I'm doing well. We got the combine, the rear view mirror, the Super Bowl, and let me lay out my February because it was a tough one. Covering the Super Bowl for 1 week in Las Vegas, pretty tough but fun. I got sick this following week, so not fun at all. Went on vacation the week after that, pretty cool, and then Indianapolis, so pretty fun for me. How about for you?
February. Well, February, does that still count? Yeah, it still counts. The Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney matchup. That was a circus. Ryan Garcia's mom kind of getting into it, and so was Ryan Garcia's dad. I don't know what's going on with all that. And then obviously just hung out, watch a couple. I've lost the battle. I've now joined you and Dan and Dago. I'm watching now true crime documentaries. I've been watching a lot of them on Netflix. And
can you name one? What are you watching right now?
The Murdaugh. I watched that one. The family down in South
Carolina. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yo, that was crazy. But that's one of those where the appearances are like, you think, wow, they have so much money, they have everything, but then at the same time, they really don't. They have a lot of problems, and it's just a house of cards, I guess. But definitely interesting. But I know, yeah, no, guys. Also, we want to talk to you guys about Lunes Live. Obviously, it used to be Overreaction Lunes with the Compas. Now it is Lunes Live, where we want to get you guys involved. We're going to be bringing on guests. We want you guys to ask questions. We will be having Nick Shook on. Jorge, what's up, bro? But we're going to be having guests on. We want you guys to interact with them as well. You guys can ask questions. You guys can. So obviously we'll interview Nick, and then towards the end we'll allow you guys, if you guys have any cool questions, you guys can jump in and ask him anything you guys want. We want to make this more interactive. Honestly, we have a lot of guests planned out, that obviously we hope you guys enjoy. We have some good ones. We're starting it off with Nick Shook, but Gilbert, I'm definitely excited about Lunes Live
Yeah.
with the Compas.
Yeah, we did during the 2023 NFL season, just jumping on a Monday live. We weren't really like organized. We just came on and started talking about football, what happened on Sunday, and then, we have Kay and Jorge here in the comments, and people like enjoyed, just talking to us on the live chat. So we're gonna keep going in the off season, but kind of have more of a show setting, having guests on, having segments. So we're not trying to ignore you guys. I know Jorge thinks I'm a big timer here, but I'm not trying to ignore anybody. We're gonna get to the comments in the beginning, and then obviously talk some football, talk about the combine. Have my former coworker Nick Shook. He's at the combine every year. He breaks down the all combine team. So he just came out on NFL.com. Check it out. He'll be on here maybe in 10 minutes. But yeah, we're trying something new here. So if we mess up or stumble, kind of be patient with us. But everybody's been so supportive here on Compas on the beat. But Fernando, I got to ask you the question because I thought it was so interesting. Which animal would you be for 24 hours?
Uh, Probably a dolphin.
Really? Why?
Yeah, they have the longest memory. I mean, you got your memory. There you go. You got to just be free in the ocean, swim around. Like, why not? Just
You really
hanging
thought
out. I
about
don't
it?
know.
Like,
Huh?
was that thought out, or you just kind of
No,
guess
I
random?
just thought about it right now. I'm like, why not be a dolphin? You be free, hanging out, chilling. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's the one thing I think would be actually pretty cool to just be in the ocean hanging out.
I didn't think about that, but I decided to be a panda bear because you could be lazy and you could eat whatever you want. But also, if you
Yeah.
mess with me, I'm gonna tear you apart. Tear you apart. So,
Yeah, I've been lazy and eat whatever I want, and I'm not down to
and
do that anymore. So
I was gonna
I
say, when you're a
I
panda bear,
can do
there's no judgment either. Like everybody
no, no,
expects
no,
you
hell
to be
no,
big.
no. There's just no. I've seen some old videos, and I'm like, holy crap, who is that guy? But real quick, Gilbert, we did want to show real quick what Malik Neighbors
Yeah.
had to say. So let me put that up here, guys. Check this out. This is actually pretty good by Malik Neighbors.
24 hours. What animal would you be?
I'll probably say a black panther.
Why panther?
You know, in this territory, which is probably the rainforest. They're one of those guys that in the dark, they hunt in the dark, and I like to hunt. When people not looking or people just in the back. So I would say, yeah, really, black panther.
I wonder how excited that makes Charger fans, especially because obviously there's been rumors and a lot of mock drafts where the Chargers are supposedly gonna that they're very high on him, but a lot of draft stuff coming up. Gilbert, just what did you make of the week or the couple of days that you were there?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say Malik Neighbors had a great answer. I keep going back and forth for the Chargers. Brock Bowers, and now Malik Neighbors coming out with the Black Panther response. Maybe
Well,
it could be Neighbors, but
not just that. Like now, there's a rumor that the Cardinals could be trading out of the fourth pick,
oh,
and so the draft could start with the Chargers, and they could have Marvin Harrison Jr. Along with Justin Herbert, along with Jim Harbaugh. So I think there's a lot of excitement there. Jorge, real quick, by the way, tomorrow. Well, we'll get into that, but you're not going to want to miss Dan and Dago tomorrow. He has something interesting planned.
yeah, we're gonna
for
do
all
it
you
live
folks.
tomorrow too with the four
Yeah,
compas. So Dan and Dago, Victor producer will be on, and we're gonna talk about Love Is Blind too. So wait for that one
yeah.
tomorrow.
Well, hey, real quick before Gilbert gets into what the combine was. That's
Yeah,
what we have planned as well. We're going to be doing lives with all four of us, the big podcast, the big show, just because we want to get you guys to interact as well. But at the same time, it's that one's going to be a little bit more of. Sometimes we'll record it, sometimes we'll go live. It's just depending on our schedule. You guys know free agency starts next week, so Gilbert
yeah.
and I are going to be all over the place, but we're going to be trying and doing lives a little bit more. You know who really liked going live was Dan and Dago. He's like, I like going live. This is fun. I'm like, yeah, I bet you liked it.
I think
So
we were all a little nervous when Dan jumped on the live, but he handled himself like a professional. And you know what? I missed him today because he does the promos better than I do. So we need Dan Dago on the podcast. And don't tell him I said that because I'm never nice to that guy.
yeah, I know, but so he liked it. Vic obviously has done it with you on multiple times on House of Horns. So yeah, we're gonna try and do it a little bit more and jump on here, but live and everything and get you guys more involved. But like we said, Lunes live is gonna be with it's gonna sometimes gonna just be Gilbert and I, sometimes gonna be guests. but we want you guys involved. And again, we appreciate everything, and you guys are definitely the best. So Gilbert, what was Combine Week like for you?
Yeah, so I guess it's strange because the combine, obviously there's a lot of star power, but a lot of players didn't, or I guess, or prospects didn't participate in the combine. So it's kind of like who's going to be out there. Obviously, no Caleb Williams, no Drake Bay, no Jaden Daniels, no Malik Neighbors, but there was still a lot of star power. JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., Roma Dunzier, no Brock Bowers, and I know we have a lot of people here who are Chargers fans, and I really like Brock Bowers and his skill set, and people were kind of rude to him with his the way he interviews, because maybe he was a little nervous and he's not really for the bright lights. But if you watch the film on Brock Bowers, that guy's a stud, and I can see the comparison to George Kittle. So, but I'm really intrigued about the top 10 picks, Randall, because they could all be offensive players. Like, there's 3 good wide receivers, Harrison Jr. obviously being one of them. You got the 3 quarterbacks. You got Joe Alt, the offensive tackle. Obviously Bowers, that could be 8 right there. So who knows? And there was that player from Texas that ran that record at 40-yard dash. Yeah, so we'll ask Nick Shook about that, and to get a 4.21, that's pretty impressive. So if you need a wide receiver or maybe even a quarterback, wide receiver though, guys like down Jeremiah saying like all 3 guys could be number 1 wide receivers for their respective team. That's very intriguing, and I really want to see what the Chargers do, because obviously people are saying Bowers could be Joe Alt, but you got a Dunzier or Malik Neighbors there, or even Marvin Harrison Jr. There you go. Could be really intriguing for number 5.
Well, and it's not just that though. It's the simple fact of they're saying that the offensive line and the receivers are like, those are the 2 most stacked positions in this draft, and both of them are big needs for the Chargers. I just don't know if I buy that the Chargers are kind of done with Trey Pipkins yet. I guess that's just kind of my thing. Like I don't know if they're ready to throw in the towel there. I know he's made it through every single coaching staff of Lynn, Staley, and now obviously Harbaugh, but like Harbaugh mentioned him that he saw him at the airport and stuff. And maybe that's just him saying, that's a good guy or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to believe. And then we all know I know Joe Alt said that he has been training for Wright as well. But I just think that even going to Wright, that we've seen, I mean, yes, Penei Sewell was able to do it. Tristan Wirfs was able to do it. But remember, Tristan Wirfs said that it was a mental handicap for a little bit, having to switch to Wright. It's not as easy. So, and I know Joel played tight end before, and now he moved over to right tackle. But I know a lot of people want to trade down, but I think that if the Chargers are in a position where they kind of start the draft, like Marvin Harrison Jr. in there, I just don't see them passing up an opportunity like that.
That's a for sure guy you got to take. But it's funny how the more that, how it is in the offseason, when the more conversation there is, the more workouts, the more pro day, it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe Marvin's not number 1 anymore. Maybe it's a Dunzier or Neighbors. And you're starting to get that now. It's like, I don't know, maybe JJ McCarthy might be a top 5 pick. You always get that. So it's kind of hard.
Gilbert, you know who you're sounding like right now? I don't know, Jim.
Tony Romo. Sorry, you guys know I like to watch the Chiefs on CBS. So
Jorge, you hear him? But
you caught me off guard. I guess I did do the Tony Romo.
Yeah, I just real quick, I saw that Dennis asked you this, Gilbert. It's to you. I don't think it's to me. Why would the 49ers hire Staley? You know what? I'm going to be honest. Staley was able to do, and I know everybody's going to say, well, the names. It doesn't matter. That Rams defense was really good when Staley was there. So here he's going to be able to manage and have a lot more talent than I think he did with the Chargers. And again,
it's weird for him. He's not even a D coordinator. He's like the assistant head coach. So maybe there's more on his plate. And
hey, he took over for Anthony's spot, right? Anthony was the assistant head coach.
That was the first thing I thought about when they hired him and made him the assistant head coach. So I don't see Jim Harbaugh going to be the assistant head coach of Kyle Shanahan. So that trend will stop right there. But
exactly.
I'll give you more of my thoughts later on. But just a kind of a quick thing. I think because, shout out to my colleague Connor Orr. He wrote a story about Kyle Shanahan and people who work with him. And it's all about kind of like the meeting of the minds, right? Like, you better make sure you're pushing people, you're challenging people, you're trying new things. And, with Staley, he is a very smart coach. Maybe he overthought things too much. But you add that to the 49ers kind of coaching brainstorming session, it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. And he's not the one kind of in charge. Maybe that's okay for him to kind of reset and challenge people, and then you get challenged in return too. So
if I can, well, I think this might be negative, but there's kind of a Chargers curse. Once you're the head coach of the Chargers, you don't become a head coach again in the league. So
yeah,
definitely interesting right there. But yeah, I just no, and Dennis, I completely understand that. I just think that, remember, he's not going there to be the defensive coordinator, like Gilbert said. There's going to be somebody else, a defensive coordinator. Maybe Staley's taking it to go learn, to go be under Kyle. Remember, Gilbert, if I'm not mistaken, he shares an agent, right, with Kyle Shanahan, or no?
I'm not too sure, but I know that circle there is very tight, Fernando. So I don't know if it's that. But
Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, those guys, like they all. Mike McDaniel, they all kind of, well, not Kyle Shanahan, but they're all
remember, even Mike McDaniel and Brandon Staley were pretty tight. And maybe, obviously, when you asked for a recommendation, Mike McDaniel said, "Hey, Kyle Shanahan, go get Brandon Staley."
Yeah, no, I completely. Staley, without being the DC, makes Shanahan not worry about the timeouts on defense because he doesn't agree with the play call. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, but as of right now, I mean, Kyle Shanahan, I mean, I know we've been really hard on him in the past and everything, but we'll see what happens with this hire. I'm actually interested to see what Brandon Staley brings, because I mean, we all know he got interviewed by the Packers, got interviewed by the Dolphins, got interviewed by the Rams, and then he ends up in San Francisco. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what.
Brandon, real quick, I think we'll get Nick Shook on around 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. So we got some time. So definitely keep breaking down the combine.
Yeah. So Gilbert, I mean, obviously, let's go now to something that kind of was the talk of the combine. I'm gonna play it right here, folks. Obviously, give your guys' thoughts on what you guys thought about this. Here we go.
Good morning, everybody.
Are you afraid to compete? How do you respond to people saying that you're worried to be compared side by side with your peers in medicals, measurements, and workouts? Are you afraid to be measured against those guys one-on-one? Is that why you're not doing things?
No, not doing things. It was a decision by me and my team, my family, and it comes down to that.
Wow. Can I just before you get started or whatever, I think I'm getting kind of fed up a little bit with the whole me and my team. Like, I get it, you have a team behind you, but at the same time, come on, dude. Like, I don't know. I get it though. I didn't like starting off with Dennis, you're foul, bro. Like, you're I can't even put that on here. You're bad. But Gilbert, I just don't like that response. But I mean, I didn't like that he isn't going to release his medicals either. But it is what it is. These guys have more power now than ever before. But just did it kind of feel like, did you guys all kind of go like this right after that question? Because that's a hell of a question to get started with.
Yeah, I'll give you my thoughts on the question, then I'll give you my other thoughts about what you're feeling. I think I'm feeling the opposite. But on the question, like, I know a lot of people were like, I thought it was a good question. Yeah, it's a fair question and say, why aren't you competing? But like, this is why people go to journalism school and why interviewing is a skill. It's like, you got to time it better. Well, that guy was saying, good morning, everybody. Like, he was like the doctor on The Simpsons. Hello, everybody. It's like, why are you afraid to compete? Yeah, it's like, can we just wait a little bit? Or
the NFL needs to put me in charge of credentialing. That's it. That's simply
there's definitely a problem there, Fernando. And you covered your first boxing press conference, so the combine felt like a circus a little bit like that. And we'll get to that a little later. But even if that was the first question, Fernando, I'm okay with it. But be like, hey, Caleb, good morning, because he is the first person. Don't give me a good morning every 20 reporters, right? Just give me one good morning back. You might be the number one pick, but why don't you feel the need to compete? Easy, that's it. Hey, don't you want to compete with your peers? And are you afraid to compete? Like, he's not afraid to compete. The guy won a Heisman Trophy and he went to USC. But it is fair to say, why aren't you doing the whole process? What's wrong with that? But he just had poor timing and a poor delivery. Fernando, I'm sure you would ask a better question.
No, we agree. We're okay with the question. We're okay with the question. The problem is when it starts. Like, when you start a press conference, it's usually kind of like you dip your big toe in the water to see what the temperature is, and then you kind of go for it. This guy just launched himself into the pool and didn't even know if it was
personal. You don't want to make it personal when you're a reporter. That's it.
But okay, and I'm sorry. How do we know he was a reporter?
Yeah, supposedly he was a fantasy football writer, reporter. So I don't know.
But that's the thing. Like, there's journalists, and then there's I don't know.
Yeah, we're not trying to diss people on
No,
what they do.
I'm not trying to diss anybody.
But if you're there to ask questions, you better get what the way.
That just sounded like a Twitter troll, kind of trying to get everything started, and you're kind of like, oh, look at me, I asked this question. Like, I've seen too much of that lately, where people are like, well, I'm the one that asked this question. Where's my credit? And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, what's the matter with you people? But whatever. I digress from that.
Let me give you my point of what you said earlier.
Yeah,
about,
I want to know
my team. For me, I'm kind of going the other way. Like, obviously, I don't agree with the whole, going to the mom on the sidelines or painting their nails, stuff like that. I get he brought up upon himself,
or wearing a dress,
stuff like that. Whatever. With Caleb Williams, he obviously is not everybody's gonna like it. But I don't like how this guy's getting so much hate now for what he does off the field that we're all considering he's going to be a bust now. Like, you could be a diva and still be a baller. And I'm like, I don't think that's not going to affect his performance. He could, like, you're getting comparisons to Aaron Rodgers. I don't care what you do with your nails. Like, you better ball out and perform. If you don't do it, then yeah, go ahead and criticize that guy. But like, nobody likes a guy. It feels like, I shouldn't say nobody, but a big chunk of people, football fans, have been turned off by it. Now it's getting to a point like, who cares if you could play football? I don't care what he does. I don't know.
Caleb, I'm offering you this opportunity.
So you're gonna be his publicist?
Hire me. Bro, we could be the heel. I could be Paul Heyman. You could be Roman Reigns. We can take people. The NFL needs heels. We need heels. Yeah. I mean, why not? Just be. I didn't say it. Somebody else said it. I did not say it, but I completely agree with this.
Yeah,
it's slowly becoming something else, and I don't like where it's going.
mind people having opinions. We have opinions here on this show. Obviously, we made the channel here,
but we leave the hot takes to one individual.
Yeah, and then so that's why there's journalism and then not, and it's okay. Just kind of don't try to define yourself being like, oh, I'm a journalist and I'm this and that, but you got to be a little bit of both too. So I got no problem with that. And I feel kind of like weird criticizing people. Like we've kind of done a little bit of both, right? We've been, high levels of our careers, and also we're starting the podcast or the network. And obviously, people are like, what's Compas? What's a Compa? So we kind of have to kind of work our way up a little bit. So we kind of know from both phases, and the more people have access, the better. But sometimes it's a little too wild out there on the questions.
Well, I mean, I want to know what was asked inside of the meeting rooms. Like, his pro day's in a couple of weeks. I think I'll be there. I hope you're going to be there.
When is it actually?
The list hasn't come out yet, but I definitely want to be. I want to be there for that one and the UCLA one.
Yeah, why not? It's nearby.
But yeah, I definitely want to see because nobody asked him about the nails. I want to see if a team asked him. No, I'm being honest. Yeah. Dennis, you're off the hook right now. You're really you're on some other planet right now.
Real quick, speaking of questions that people don't want to ask, I forgot the Iowa cornerback, but he's white. He's a white cornerback. He was getting questions about that. How do you feel about being the first white cornerback in the first round of the draft, possibly? And he's like, hey, I don't really care. But questions like that, those are kind of hard to ask. Like, how do you feel about being the first white cornerback? But
what's so funny is that a lot of people, how they came out that all black versus all white team. Like somebody's like, now you need him. Yeah, they were having Christian McCaffrey go both ways and stuff. And so I definitely, oh my god. So yeah, I'm just laughing at that. But
I went to that presser just to hear somebody ask him about it, and he was cool about it. It's not awkward.
I mean, what could he really like? Say,
yeah, imagine I'm here to hold it down for the team white on the on the football field. Like,
hell yeah. I just I don't know. It'll be
there you go. Cooper Dejean. Thank you, Dennis. Yeah, that's his name. Iowa.
I'm definitely interested to see what other I'm interested to see what Caleb Williams was asked. I mean, I want to know what he was asked about. I want to know what was said in his meeting. He won't say anything. Well, he probably has to ask his team first, but I'm definitely interested.
I wonder how many teams he met with, because like he's probably like, just give me 2 teams and call it a day.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with
And
that.
Brandon, we're gonna be judging people off of like an interview. You know, I don't think it matters that much, but I was really impressed with Drake May. Like the way he just kind of talks and his confidence, and he doesn't care about how he is on the podium. Like he reminds me of Peyton Manning. Like Drake May is
You-
doing all these like, expressions like this. What is that? And then follows up with a great answer. I'm like, he just doesn't care. He's probably gonna scratch his armpit in the middle of the presser. He doesn't care. And then he follows up with a great response. Like, I don't know. He just seems like some guy who's just so confident with himself.
When Dan was posting that video on Compas that you sent or whatever, I thought it was like I was like, did Gilbert talk to Justin Herbert? It sounded like it was
Yeah.
Justin
He
Herbert.
sounds like Justin Herbert, but like in a more, I guess, outgoing personality kind of way.
Yeah. I was just
And
surprised.
stubborn too.
It was a little bit quiet from him, wasn't it? Like there was more. Everybody was more talking about Caleb
Yeah,
Williams.
it was more like Drake
JJ
May said
McCarthy.
all the right things. Go
I
ahead,
thought
sorry.
JJ McCarthy was the one that had the most.
Yeah.
Like,
I think because
noise
there's
around
more
him.
like intrigue about him. Like, are you a top 10 pick? Are
Yeah.
you not? But Drake May is actually kind of in a good spot. It's like he doesn't have the pressure that Caleb Williams has. It's kind of like, whatever, pick me second or third. I don't give a crap. And here's who I am. And Fernando, because some of these comment questions were a little out there, I almost became the guy who asked Drake May from Charlotte, North Carolina, have you watched Love is Blind? Because, it's based in Charlotte, North Carolina. But I didn't go that far. Speaking of
Thank God
journalism.
you did not. He'd probably be like, "Love is what?"
I think he watches. He's from Charlotte.
Yeah. Did you go to St. Elmo's?
I did not make it this time. I went to this. I shouldn't give it away to burn it, but there was a coffee shop where a lot of high profile people go, and I was there a couple times.
Oh, did you go to God? What's that? The place where that steakhouse that everybody goes to.
Isn't that the one you said, St. Elmo's or St.
No, the
Elmo's
other one. The one where they clear all the tables and everybody's just kind of standing around.
I did not make. I actually tried something different this time around. Now that I'm about to be 35 next month, for me, I'm gonna age myself. I tried doing the waking up early and talking to people while they're getting coffee or walking to the podium, and I think that was better than being up for 24 hours. So I don't know.
Oh, really?
Something different.
Look at you trying something.
I think
completely
my party
different.
days are a little behind me, but
well, the last time that we all went, that was way too
that was
wild.
fun. And I feel like because we did it together, it's like I've done it before, kind of being out pretty late, but I don't know. Some of these recordings, man.
And then waking up at 7 to go cover it.
Hey, I'll just say this: everybody wants to brag about being up all night, but when it came to the 8 a.m. interviews, it was kind of half empty. I'll just say that. Who was there?
Yeah, it's funny. You could tell the people that are like hungover because they have like water bottles and stuff, and they're kind of sitting there and sitting in between interviews.
I'll tell you a quick story. Brandon Staley gave me crap one time. He didn't do it intentionally, but he was like, I could see it. I could see it in your eyes. You've been out all night. I'm like, yeah. But he was cool.
What? 2021?
2022 offseason. I think that might have been my last year covering the Chargers.
Oh, I was there then.
Yeah. I think that was a year. So because hanging out with guys like Adam Hill, I'll just say that.
Exactly. Anything else that kind of interest in Indy?
I finally made it inside to Lucas Oil Stadium.
How was that?
It's my third year going, and I finally made it inside, and it was cool. I wish if I left on Friday, if I would have stayed through Saturday, it would have been cool to see what's his first name? Worthy from Texas. I'm blanking already. Xavier, where they run that 40, and that would have been pretty cool. Like I want to ask Nick about it, but supposedly it was a good atmosphere and good crowd. I went on the first day, which was Wednesday, maybe Thursday, and it was a little dead, but I bet you Saturday was better.
I'm interested to see, like you said, what the atmosphere was like and everything for that, because I'm sure some people must have seen him and been like, oh wow, like whoa, like especially with his time and everything. So I mean,
it was cool. He went a second time. He had like a 4.25. He could have been cool with that. He's like, nah, I'm going for the record. So I respect the competition.
It's funny. I saw this too. What Dennis said. I like that Harbaugh was getting a lot of love from the crowd. I noticed that somebody sent out a video, or I think it was NFL's Twitter, and I noticed that he got cheered a lot too. So, and then I guess I noticed because I was trying to get the Jason Kelce press conference from this morning, and they were showing a replay of the combine, and they're like, after 10 years, another Harbaugh is back in the NFL, and they're like, a lot of excitement with this guy, and it's like Jim just walking in, kind of texting on the phone and stuff, and I was like, oh wow, so definitely.
I'm guessing he was okay with the camera, not like Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel saying, get away from me. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there was like a clip of him saying, leave me alone. It's kind of like Taylor Swift, right? Saying, leave me alone, please.
Mike McDaniel. That's a good that's definitely interesting. Dennis says Harbaugh with a stopwatch. Now that's a real coach.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen that clip where remember Bill Belichick's eating popcorn and like watching through his binoculars and stuff, and he had a stopwatch too. So definitely interesting. No Bill Belichick this year at the.
I know, that's a bummer. No Mike Vrabel either.
Did you watch Jason Kelsey's? Oh, here we go. Obviously, we told you guys we are gonna have guests. We have a great guest right now. Let me bring him on. It is Nick Shook of NFL.com. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me on, guys. Sorry, took me a little second there. I had a little technical difficulty, but we're good to go. How you guys doing?
Doing well, Nick. Were you playing Madden? I feel like you were live streaming on Twitch.
No, but if you look, this is usually the color that's in the background at that time. And that was from before I left for the Combine or maybe even the Super Bowl. And I just turned this back on for the first time. And I looked in the camera just now. I was like, oh, no, it's still green. So
I like the set. I got to ask you for some pointers because I need that. Me and Fernando need some pointers in the backdrop.
It is an IKEA shelving unit you can buy and you just fill it out with some stuff. And then I just put some LED strips that you can connect to your internet behind it, just around the top, and bought some little connect. It's very simple. It's very easy. Totally walk you through it.
That's awesome. Nick, every year you deliver with your all combine team. The 2024 squad was just released. We just wanted to know, did you get a chance to hit the bench press at the combine?
No. There was a few years ago where they used to do it on the backside. They used to use more of a footprint in the convention center and the space that they're in. And they would set up stands around the bench, and like Radio Row where it is now, there was like a big center section in between where the bench was. And I think they stopped doing it in there because fans would come in there and the cheers would get insanely loud while on the other side of a curtain, interviews are going on with the media. And I remember there was a few times where I'm sitting there and I'm just hearing, oh, come on, let's go, one more, while this player, a soft-spoken player, is speaking, and I'm like, well, this audio is useless. So the bench is no longer accessible for me, or at least I didn't seek it out this year.
Imagine telling, saying, hey, did you meet with the Giants or the Jets and so on and so on? It's like, yeah, give me another one. So yeah, I can see why they got rid of that one.
No, it would be really bad in the most important follow-up question of all time. Formal or informal?
I always forgot about that one during my beat reporter day, so I'm glad I don't care about that anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't even know the difference between a visit, 30 days, whatever it is. I don't know. I lost track. I shouldn't give out myself that way. But
you have your 30 visits,
there you go,
which are like the priority visits, and then you have the formal informals, which are just the meetings with the people at the combine. That's all it is.
And then being asked, are birds real? So it's
have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
Yeah, so I'm sure you heard that the entire week out there, Nick. But let's get to some real journalism.
Nick, are you scared of competition?
Team. What was that?
I'm asking Nick if he's scared of competition.
I was at that presser. Oh man, a highlight in the worst way. And then the guy who asked the question's been taking victory laps on social media since then.
Man.
Like, I think he followed up somebody was just like, why? And he's like, got to stand out in a presser. It's like, that's not the point of the presser. If you were supposed to stand out, you'd be on the podium, sir. But that's what you get.
Put that guy to do the bench press and the 40 and all that.
Are you afraid to compete after that?
Yeah, let's see what he can do.
Right.
Well, Nick, that's a good segue for now. That's why you're a pro. I want to think about the quarterbacks to start here. But yeah, no Drake May, no Jaden Daniels, no Caleb Williams, but we saw Michael Penix Jr. out there. He made your team. He was a quarterback for the all-combine team 2024. JJ McCarthy also competed. So I guess my question is, why Penix over JJ?
I actually have to go back and look at. I sent this yesterday, and yet it's already left my mind. Why Penix over JJ? JJ was uneven. I think anybody who sat there and watched that workout from front to back would agree. And people could call me a homer or unbiased because I'm an Ohio State fan. It has nothing to do with that. JJ was a fantastic quarterback at Michigan for a number of different reasons, but I've always been concerned about whether his skills will translate to the next level because His passing wasn't as necessary as Penix at Washington. They were able to run the football really well, and everybody points to the Penn State game where they ran the ball like 33 times in a row to finish the game. But what I was more worried about was, can his accuracy shine with nobody coming after him, with because he's a great playmaker. He's a great guy that plays well out of structure. He's mobile, he's athletic, and I was really disappointed to not see him run, because the whole narrative, and I don't know who's feeding this to the insiders, but the narrative for the last few weeks has been, oh, just wait till you see McCarthy run. Wait till you see his broad jump. He's going to be fantastic. He's going to blow your minds. You're not going to realize how athletic this kid is. I'm like, I watched this kid in college. I know he's athletic. He can move. Like, he can run. And I watched him do it to Ohio State for 2 years, like the last 2 years. So so I was disappointed to not see him do that stuff. Right. But he was going to throw. So I was like, all right, let's see if the throwing translates, because that's going to be the biggest question. And some throws, it was like, wow, that was really nice. That was accurate. His feet are very solid. He's very comfortable. He's in rhythm. I like his drops and everything. But he just missed some throws, just some throws that you don't need to or don't want to miss, like a corner route, like an out route. I understand you don't have a rapport with some of these receivers, and Penix, you would think Penix has an advantage because Rome Odunze was out there, but they didn't get one rep together until the end zone fade, which they pulled off perfectly. So when I compared him to Penix, it was really no comparison. Penix was the best out there. He wasn't perfect. He was not CJ Stroud last year. I don't think we're going to see a combine like we saw last year between Stroud and Richardson, who Richardson missed some underneath throws, but God, that deep ball was gorgeous. Gave me chills. Gives me chills just thinking about it now. We're not going to see that type of performance, on an annual basis. Penix was the best one out there. And, you saw Joe Milton showing off the big arm, that kid's got a cannon, flick of the wrist, and he threw a corner route, threw like some loft into the first one, right? The second one was flat and right on target, to the point where me and one of my editors later were like, did you see that second corner route that Milton threw? And I was like, the flat one? He's like, yeah, because it was just a rocket. But he wasn't, super consistent either. The only really consistent guy out there with legit live arm talent was Michael Penix. So it was a pretty easy decision there. Probably one of the easier ones that I made in a class that is almost the opposite of last year. Last year, the running backs were easy to decide. The safeties were easy to decide. This year, the safeties were tough to get through. The running backs, you look at the guys I picked there, and they're tough to get through. Quarterback last year was easy, and that was without Bryce Young throwing. And I think quarterback would have been even easier, or maybe harder, if Caleb Williams and Drake May had thrown, and Jaden Daniels. That probably would have actually made for a tough one and a better show. But overall, because Penix was he was just the best thrower of the guys remaining, and it was pretty obvious.
I'm guessing Texas wide receiver Xavier Worthy made it pretty easy for you to put him on the all-combine team.
No. Actually,
nope.
No.
Even though he broke the record for with the 40-yard.
Yeah. So this is a philosophical difference that I have with my editors. And Saturday night we were out on the town, and they start getting on. They do this every year. They get on me for something, because I send it in pieces. I send the whole defense first, then I said kind of put it in a doc, and these are the guys I have. I write it up as I go, day by day. And they're like, how is Worthy not in there? The guy broke the record. And it's the all-combine team. And a big part, some would say the most important part of the combine, is the testing. But I put as much value in the drills. And the reason is, historically speaking, I think this is my fifth all-combine team, fourth or fifth, maybe even sixth. In the past, I sit in the stadium and watch these drills, every rep of every drill, and I'm taking notes the entire time for 4 days. The notes are very haphazard. They're sloppy. It's like just my thoughts. Sometimes it's just like name solid. But then every once in a while I just write my thought, which is like Braden Fisk will blow guys up like the Balkan powder keg or whatever, like World War, what was that one? Archduke Franz Ferdinand, right? It was so it kind of just goes from one way to the other. But as I sat there and take those notes, oftentimes guys pop visually. And that's why I make it a point to be in the stadium every year. It's something that you just don't see on TV. The way guys move, Tristan Wirfs just moved different than everybody else in the field. Cam Jurgens, who Jason Kelsey, who had retired today, advised the Eagles to draft as his replacement a few years ago. He moved differently than everybody else out there. And they just showed. Tanner Bartolini from Wisconsin was that guy this year on the offensive line. And I didn't even pick him. He was my honorable mention because Jackson Powers Johnson tossed a line coach in the middle of a drill. Like, that guy's got incredible power. But they just flash. They show. And I value the drills a lot. And Worthy didn't do the drills. And so I was like, all right, well, I mean, he broke the record. That's great. And he tested insanely well, which is what we expected him to. He's a track guy, but he didn't do the drills. And I sat on that, and that was my justification that, look, man, you did half of the workout, so I have a hard time putting you on the list. And then I got to talking with my editors, and they were up on me about not putting Worthy on there. And they're like, you're going to get heat for it. And I was like, I'll take the heat. I stand by it. And then I ran into Rhett Lewis, one of my colleagues at the network. I ran into him on Sunday, and I talked to him about the receivers. And we talked about A.D. Mitchell, Adunze, Ladd McConkey, and Worthy. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to put Worthy on the team. I know he broke the record, but like, he didn't show that he can be a solid receiver. Like, he didn't do any of the drill work. And he goes, well, he caught 75 balls last year. And I'm like, huh. So then I went back and reviewed some of his tape, and I was like, okay, it is the all combine team, but because I have an incomplete picture here, I feel good enough about this kid and the fact that he's set the record and lit the world on fire. A legit crowd pop. Like, I posted the video on Twitter, a legitimate crowd pop when the number flashed 422 on the screen. And then when 421, it was more of like a swell of applause for him. So at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, man, I'm putting him in there. Why not? Let's put him in there.
As long as he doesn't give John Ross vibes, I'm sure you might have had.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I fight back against. Is I'm sitting back there, and as soon as it goes 4-2-1 official, I turn around and look at everybody in the suite, and I go, "Congratulations, everyone! We can all move on from John Ross now, because we don't have to talk about that anymore." Because John Ross, great college returner at Washington, speedster, couldn't run a route to save his life, couldn't stay healthy in Cincinnati, flamed out. And I hope that Xavier Worthy does not have the same NFL experience. Yeah. But you do have that in the back of your mind when you think about guys that are speedsters like that. So without him running the drills, I was like, I have a hard time completing this picture. But you know what? Again, this class is loaded, and we didn't get to see a few of the other guys work out too. So I felt okay with it. But man, I can't wait to see where some of these receivers go, because I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't even talk to the media. All he did was get body scanned and do the evals and talk with teams, and he was out. And he would have been on the list if he'd worked out. I guarantee it, because that kid's just a natural talent who can stand on his tape. So that's the downside. He should have just gone up to the mic.
He should have just gone up to the mic and been like, "You've seen my tape. Enough said," and just walked off.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Exactly.
I'm thankful. I'm thankful.
Exactly. Nick, I saw you put Washington's Romeo and Dunze in your squad. I cover the Chargers. Do you feel like he's worthy of the number 5 pick? Is it Malik Neighbors or maybe even Brock Bowers? I've even seen some where the Cardinals end up trading out so that somebody can come up and draft a quarterback, and then it could be Marvin Harrison Jr. Just where do you kind of see the Chargers there at the number 5 pick?
Yeah, I'm a little torn there, because I was a big Gerald Everett guy in the past, and I like the tight end situation with the Chargers has been very fluid in the last few years, because like Hunter Henry couldn't stay healthy, and then he bounced, and Gerald Everett's headed to free agency, and they have Stone Smart and Donald Parham, and I think they like them both, but neither of them are very special. So like, if you add a special talent, that's Brock Bowers, right? But you spend the 5th overall. I mean, he's an incredible player, and it's not a super surprise if he were to go 5th. Like, some people think he's the best player in the entire draft, and if you get him at 5, you get him at 5. But we've also watched Atlanta waste Kyle Pitts for 2-3 years. And not saying that Jim Harbaugh is going to do that, and especially with Justin Herbert, but I am just a little hesitant to take tight ends that high. I like the idea of a trade to accrue more capital. It's not necessarily that you need you're not working with an entirely barren cupboard, but there are some areas that you could address. It's a weird spot at receiver for the Chargers, because they spent a pick on Quentin Johnston last year, who couldn't make a play to save his life. And you have Keenan Allen, and you've relied on Mike Williams, and it's almost like you're drafting not a position of privilege or surplus, because they needed guys to step up and make plays like Johnston last year, and they didn't. But I feel like that could maybe potentially be used elsewhere. I've seen them mocked to do a number of different things. I want to say, I think DJ had them taking a tackle. I want to say he had them taking Joe Alt. Yeah, Joe Alt from Notre Dame, which would be wild to have Slater and Alt, like your bookend tackles. Because look, let's face it, Justin Herbert hasn't been protected very well in the last couple of years. Yeah. And injuries are the main reason he got completely derailed last year. And that should be priority number 1 instead of going for the toy. But at the same time, you're in a position where you can kind of do whatever you want. So I think it comes down to their board and whether they rate guys, worth that pick, and how we'll see that, kind of unfold. It's going to be interesting. But the good thing is they have a quarterback. So like, they don't have to worry about, like, if you look at the first 4 pick, like DJ's mock draft has Caleb 1, Drake May 2, Marvin Harrison 3 to the Patriots, Malik Neighbors 4 to the Cardinals, and then they can do whatever they want. Like right there, you have 2 receivers off the board, right? But you could get Odunze, who's also a stud. You could go Joe Alt and take the best tackle in the draft. You could go a number of different directions. So I think they're really like in the catbird seat because they don't need a quarterback. Like they're not pressed for that. And they could also trade that out and get a ton of capital. So I really like what the Chargers could do here. It could go a number of different ways, but I do like their possibilities.
Speaking of that, you mentioned that and we keep on hearing that the offensive line group is deep. They're saying that it's there's a lot of talent there at everything when it comes to guard, tackles, center, like you said, with the kid from Oregon. But just what do you make of the offensive line group that's coming out this year?
I was incredibly impressed by what I saw. Now, I will say that the first group was better than the second group in terms of just like stacking them up one by one. There are like 5 guys at tackle right now who I would be thrilled to have. It would be Alt, Futanu from Washington, which Washington has produced some linemen that I've loved in the past that haven't necessarily done as well at the next level. Nick Harris being one of them. Fuaga from Oregon State his tape is incredible. Like the way that kid gets to second level, he can move and he destroys guys at the second level. And I always love a good road grader like that can get to the next level, not just take out one guy, but take out 2 guys. That's always very valuable. I loved Christian Jones from Texas. I thought he moved well. Tyler Guyton, there was some up and downs in his workout, but overall I could see the vision with him. So there's like 5 guys right there that I think that you would be really happy with. There's a ton of talent there. There's a ton of talent at guard. The kid from Holy Cross does not pop up on anybody's radar, right? CJ Hansen. And as I'm like halfway through, I'm going through those notes that I talked about. And at one point I just said, I said the Holy Cross kid is damn good. Like just a good football player. Like that's one of the notes I made. I think by the time I got to like the screen drill or something. Christian Haynes from Connecticut. He was another guy that made my team who was a stud. Cooper Beebe. He's like listed in the top 5 prospects at guard. That definitely carried over. Jarrett Kingston, who was asked to play tackle and guard at USC and was probably a better player at Washington State. That kid can move really well. I love the way he would look in his zone scheme. And then you got guys at lower levels like Mason McCormick from South Dakota State. By the way, South Dakota State produced like 2 guys in this group that are like really good linemen that I'm really excited to see where they go. Michigan had like 4 linemen out there, Trevor Keegan being one of them. The Brady Latham kid from Arkansas, he was pretty good. The kid from Utah, Lamea, I'm intrigued by him, not necessarily entirely impressed, but intrigued by him. There's so many different areas that you can go with this group. And if you look at the Chargers line right now, you got Corey Lindsley, who's had a tough time staying on the field. Guard, I think, could be improved. Right tackle, Trey Pipkins, I've never been a big fan of him. So that's why I love the Alt pick. But I think you can go in a number of different directions and really find a gem there. So if you're going to key in on offensive line, this is the draft to do it. There's tons of talent, good talent available in the first round.
Fernando, I'm gonna go back and watch this clip because Nick dropped a bunch of names there, and I got a bunch of draft stories to work on. And you just gave me a bunch of players to evaluate.
Just go back to the Holy Cross team. Yeah.
Just go. I did that last year, the year before that. So you do a great job.
CJ Hansen, I'm telling you, man. I haven't found his tape yet, but what I saw in his workout, I was like, that's just a damn good football player. Like that's a guy that's going to step in there and he's going to be like a Joel Petonio, who's just going to be out there and be a damn good guard for years. That's just now weight's an issue. He's like around 300 pounds and people are kind of worried about his size, but I'm not worried. If guy can play. And that's why I love the drills, because oftentimes you can see in the drills that these guys can play.
Jason Kelsey said it today, and during his retirement speech, he's like, I wasn't heavy, but they wanted athleticism. They wanted guys that could play, and they weren't focused on the weight. They were focused on what I could do. So you might have something right there, Nick, with him.
Yeah, because the thing that they've talked about, Joe Thomas talks about it all the time. He and I have spoken about this at length. Basketball players. You want basketball players at tackle. You want guys with athleticism and backgrounds in different sports that can do more than just be lumbering guys. Like there was, his last name was Crum, kid with the long flowing blonde hair who ran a fast 40. Like I think he ran like a 4.94 or something, and he was all fired up about it, and the hair got attention and everything. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty good because he's a big boy. And then I watched his drills, and he's got heavy feet, not in a good way. Did not move very well. And I was like, nah, Frank, make my list. Yeah.
Frank.
So yeah, Frank Crum. Yeah. So sometimes that's what separates guys. And I think as this game continues to evolve and you see more of the zone schemes and you see guys like Kelsey who can get out in front and take on a guy with one arm and take out another guy and just do things that kind of defy logic when it comes to like the traditional sense of offensive lineman. If you can get guys that can move and get out there, it can unlock a whole different level in your running game that can make your offense exponentially better. So I'm always siding with the guys who are more agile, who are more athletic, because I think that's just the way the game's going.
Nick, one more for me. I know you've had a long week and I know you're tired, but let me ask you about
cruising, baby.
Okay. You're doing a good job. I remember I asked you in Indy, I'm like, you sure it's going to be a Monday? You don't have to. You said yes. We appreciate the time. But let me ask you about the cornerbacks. It seems like Alabama's Terrion Arnold is going to be the number one corner, but it seems like it could be a Nate Wiggins from Clemson. How about the kid from Toledo, Mitchell? How do you feel about the cornerbacks and how they perform over the weekend?
So I think they're all different guys. First off, Arnold could run for office one day. That kid's incredibly charismatic. Like, not even his interviews on camera, his podium. Like, I've just never seen somebody handle, because a lot of times you get guys come out there and they're coached, and they give you lip service and they give you, the standard answers. And he did not. Like, he's expressed a lot of personality. I was incredibly impressed by him and his future as a leader and just as a personality. Not like a Sauce Gardner going to get my own Buffalo Wild Wings commercial personality, but just somebody who's mature and wise beyond his years. I think he is, like, I may have listed him one of his team fits with the Eagles. Yeah, because they got Bradbury and Slay, but one of those two is going to, like, Bradbury's under contract. Slay feels like this is probably going to be his last year. I know they had to redo his contract and everything, but it feels like one of those two guys are going to be gone. They're both not young. And if I'm looking at the Eagles, I'm thinking, what type of cornerback do I want to fit in there and replace one of those guys? And as I watched his drills, I'm just like, that guy is an Eagles corner. Like, that's a pro-ready guy who can come in and lock you down in man coverage and stay in your hip pocket. Like, he's going to be a stud. Not saying that he has to just go to the Eagles, but he's going to be a stud in that way. Mitchell is the athletic freak. He's the Reek Woolen of this group. He's super fast. He put down a great 40 time. Little inconsistent with his hands early in the drills. Looked like he was pressing, like he didn't trust his hands because he dropped an early one and tried to start body catching everything. And then eventually his hands came back to him and he finished strong. But that kid can fly. Played MAC ball, mid-major football. The adjustment to the NFL is going to be, something that he's going to have to, overcome. But I think he's so naturally talented that, I mean, look, man, sometimes you just get that raw talent, you get them into the right system and they just flourish and you can have like a Reek Woolen type performance. Wiggins only ran and he pulled a hip flexor and that was it. So I didn't get to see a lot of him. Clemson as a team, I don't like to hold the team performance against them, but they weren't that good as they've been in recent years. And I haven't dug into his tape a lot, but I mean, the kid can fly and you can't teach speed. And especially in today's day and age of these burners that you got in the NFL. So I think that he carries a lot of value to him. And then you got a guy like Max Melton who just tested off the charts as well. And he was solid in the drills. Like, there's a number of different guys with different styles, and it's really your preference and where you're picking. So if I had to pick a cornerback one, it's probably Arnold, but I think that there's a lot of value in each of these guys for different reasons.
Nick, is it cool if some of the folks ask you some questions?
Absolutely.
Is that cool with you? All right, we'll do a couple.
I love a good chat.
There you go. Well, yeah. So guys, throw your questions out. Nick is ready to answer them. Dennis is asking, who's wide receiver number 1 in the draft?
It's Marvin Harrison Jr. and it's not even close. It's rare, and that you can call me a homer, but Joel Klatt has been saying this for 2 years. And I talked to Marvin about this at Ohio State's Pro Day last year because he went and ran routes for CJ Stroud, which I thought was impressive. And then we went and did a little one-on-one afterward. And I'm like, there's this guy out there who's been calling you the best receiver in the NFL in 3 to 5 years. And he goes, yeah, Joel Klatt. And I was like, okay, so you've heard it. He's like, yeah. And he just started laughing. Like, he's a nice kid. The fact that he didn't do the media thing, everyone's like, oh, that's a red flag, blah, blah, blah. No, ignore that. This is one of those rare players that can stand on their tape and will have nothing to gain from the pre-draft process. He's the best player in the class at his position. He's been that guy since the year before. He makes spectacular plays. He made Kyle McCord into a serviceable quarterback. And he should not have even been a serviceable quarterback for Ohio State. There was a number of times where McCord would just throw it up to him. He'd make spectacular catches and make, chicken salad out of chicken, what, right? And I just can't argue with that. I think he's going to be a fantastic player at the next level. He's ready. And whoever gets him is going to be extremely fortunate. So that's an easy answer.
Is Joe Milton the Richardson in this draft?
No, I wish he was. I wish he was. I think his college history, he started at Michigan, ends up at Tennessee. He finally gets the job at Tennessee this year after Hendon Hooker moved on to the NFL. and they just didn't live up to expectation. And I think that the greatest example of that, and what you probably get from Joe Milton, who ends up being more of a project quarterback, is the way they played against Alabama. They had a great first half. They take a lead on Alabama. They're down in Knoxville. And then Alabama turns up the heat in the second half defensively, and Milton crumbled. There was a few times in that game where it's 4th and 8 or whatever, and they have to make a play, and he just didn't make a play. Now that could speak to the fact that he didn't have time to throw or whatever it is. Kid's got an incredible arm, but I think Richardson was more prepared. And I also think that Richardson really benefited from playing under Shane Steichen. Like we overlooked the fact that Shane Steichen came into Indianapolis in his first year, lost the guy that he was torching defenses with a month into the season, and then was competitive all the way down to week 18 with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. Did a fantastic job of coaching. And I think quarterback, more than any other position, is so dependent on situation. CJ Stroud goes to Houston with D'Amico Ryan's rookie head coach overseeing a nasty defense that gets stronger as the year goes on. And Bobby Slowick, first-year OC, who schemes the offense around CJ's strengths, and they all flourish. They all blossom. Tank Dell comes in. Great pick. One of my favorite guys from last year's Combine. He was on the all-Combine team there. They form a rapport. Nico Collins is his favorite receiver. You got Robert Woods out there. And CJ lit the league on fire, and he was a runaway rookie of the year by week 10. That is rare. And that a lot of that has to do with situation. So I think Joe Milton could become a productive quarterback because he has the natural arm talent, but he's got to be in the right situation. He's got to have time to learn and get comfortable. So I don't think he'll have the quick turnaround like Richardson.
Is Jalen Wright the next Devin Sean?
He tested really well. He did not make my all-Combine team because this running back group, a lot of them did not separate themselves in the drills. There was, there wasn't a Bijan Robinson. There wasn't a Jahmyr Gibbs in this group. There just wasn't. But Achane was in that group last year, and I don't know if he made the team last year. He caught some people by surprise, and eventually, everybody caught on, and they were like, wow, this kid's a burner. Testing numbers matter a lot with running backs because that does carry over. So much that I went and looked at 40 times because I picked Bucky Irving from Oregon because I thought he did a really good job in the drills. Like he looks like a pro-ready guy, but I don't know if he has the physical tools to be special. But he's a guy that could be a change of pace back that can catch balls out of the backfield and everything else. And the Keelan Robinson kid from Texas, I think he's going to be a great third down back, and that's why I picked those two guys. And he tested well, but testing matters so much at running back that I went back and looked at Nick Chubb's 40 time because I was trying to comp them to other players, and I think it was like 4.53 maybe, or maybe it was lower than that. And then I looked at Jerome Ford because I was trying to find a fit for Bucky Irving, and Jerome Ford ran a 4.49, and I'm like, well, Bucky ran slower than that, so they wouldn't replace Ford or maybe Chubb with Bucky, so that fits out. But when you get a guy who runs in the 4.3s and gives you a crazy broad jump and everything else, then suddenly you're talking about a really explosive player, and maybe he could be that guy. I'm not so certain, but maybe he could.
Nick, one thing that I'm kind of looking at this draft is, for the first time since being a head coach, Sean McVay has a first-round draft pick. Just does that what intrigues you about that? What do you think? What route do you think he kind of takes?
So I think that this was,
and does he keep the pick?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? Les Snead and John Schneider love to trade out of the first round. I think the Seahawks finally used their first-round pick for the first time last year, right? The Rams overachieved last year. If you look at their roster right now and you look at their depth chart, especially on the defensive side of the ball, you got a lot of no-name guys over there. I mean, we could talk about Christian Roseboom at linebacker and Michael Hoyt, and these are guys who made plays, but guys that don't register on the radar for you in terms of name recognition. And they got they maximized their talent and their production in the way that they were able to reach the playoffs. There are holes to fill, especially in the secondary. So I'm curious to see if they do try to go safety or corner and fill some of those holes, or if they try to address the offensive line, which was much better last year because they were healthier, but it's still not a great offensive line as it stands right now. They got a couple pending free agents there in Kevin Dotson and Coleman Shelton, and I'm curious to see if they address it there. So I think this will be a year that they use that pick because they need to, because they have some holes to fill. I don't know how they use that pick. I go back to DJ's mock draft, and he had them taking Jackson Powers Johnson, the center from Oregon, the mauler of a center, and who made my all-Combine team. And if you look at their depth chart, that addresses a need. I mean, they nailed it with Steve Avila last year. They got one of the guard situations figured out. They still haven't really found a legitimate replacement for Andrew Whitworth. Lark Jackson did the job last year and did a decent job. Rob Havenstein's still on the other side, but I think they can invest in the offensive line. And so I think that because they have so many holes, they're going to use that pick.
Nick, I think you mentioned on your all-Combine team, UCLA's Latu maybe as a fit for the Rams, edge rusher.
Yeah. And you know why? Is because I don't know if I looked his comp up or not, but he gave me a lot of, he reminded me of two guys, Jalen Phillips from Miami, which I think DJ mocked him to Miami. And then the other guy was Leonard Floyd, long rushers, right? Long rushers that have bend and the ability to get around the edge and take guys down. And I loved his workout, and I thought he tested well enough to make the team. And I think he could fit in a number of different places, but you have to be looking for a certain type of edge rusher. He's not a Jared Verse. He's not a Dallas Turner. He's a longer guy, and the injury history issue with the neck and how he was medically retired and then came back, that is a red flag. So I don't know where he ends up going. So maybe that does see him slide down to like 19 or 21 with Miami. That's where DJ's got him going right now because it fits what they do defensively. But I loved his workout, and I think if he could stay healthy, he could be a productive player like Leonard Floyd was, especially once he moved on from the Bears.
Fernando, I got one more for Nick, and it's a fun one because we used to work together. If people don't know, Nick and I at the old NFL Network, offices in Culver City.
Oh,
in the back row back there.
Yeah,
and Fernando, I used to hear our good friend Tyler Dragon always arguing with Nick Shook about who's better at Madden. So I'll bring the question: who's better?
Okay. I hope you clip this and send it to Tyler. So Tyler will randomly, I'll be on PlayStation, and he'll randomly send me a message every once in a while. You trying to get beat? You trying to get beat in Madden? And the last time he played was not this Madden, but maybe last year's Madden. Tyler has run from, I run a Madden league, and he has run from my invitations for years. Refuses to get in there. Doesn't want to team build.
He's afraid to compete.
Doesn't want to compete. Yeah, exactly. Wow. That should have been the question at Tyler's presser. If we ever have a Tyler presser, we'll get that guy to come in and ask that question because he deserves it, because he refuses to come in and play within the framework of our league rules, which includes a play cooldown. And all he does is run stretch right, stretch left, screen, like smoke screen left, bubble screen left. And he just overloads the line, and there's no way to stop it. And we're playing online one time, and I'm like, I can't stop this. Like, I can overload the line this way, and he's just going to throw a backside screen. He ran 2 plays the whole game. Like, it's not that he was better than me. It's just that, he was able to spam the same couple of plays. So if he ever comes and joins the league, then we can really talk and really figure out who's the better player. I'm the reigning champ of the league, by the way. So,
there you go.
Nick, you're being challenged. Nick, if you need a player, add and then you put his. I'm a demon at Madden.
You're a demon at Madden? All right, add me at the Nick Shook on PSN on PlayStation. We got room in the league. You want to come compete? Got to come take on the champ, my friend. Reigning champ. Well, just got to fight to make the playoffs because I lost a lot of sim games while I was in Vegas for the Super Bowl. But hey, you know what? Come find me. I'm ready. Let's go.
Nick, he also asked real quick, and final 2, and then we'll let you go. We appreciate your time. With the Broncos releasing Russ, which quarterback do you think fits Peyton's offense? Sean Payton.
That's a great question. In this draft, God, I don't know. I mean, I would think maybe a Drake May, but I don't think he's going to be there. I don't think a Jaden Daniels fits. Caleb won't be there. McCarthy, I don't know. Because all we know about Sean Payton is what he did with Drew Brees, right? And since then, he had Jameis for a year, and then he left. He's like, I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore.
JJ
so I don't know.
Feels like the Mac Jones of this trade for this draft for some reason.
Yeah. And it's tough with Mac because I felt like he had a bad situation coaching wise, and the personnel around him wasn't great, and he regressed. Now this year, his regression was more on him than anything, but like his rookie year, he was pretty solid. I don't know. Maybe it is a JJ McCarthy. It seems like the most likely pairing because of where he might go and where the Broncos are picking. I just feel like, they're at 12. They're a little bit outside of that range, but that is the McCarthy range, unless like this mock I'm looking at has him going to Atlanta at 8, which I think is nuts. But I also think like Justin Fields is available, but is Justin Fields going to fit? I don't think that fits what they want to do. So I think they're in a tough spot, and I think that they're going to have to make a move to get a guy, and I'm not sure who it's going to be.
And last one, Peyton Wilson looks like a stud. What round do you think he goes? A linebacker out of NC State.
Yeah, he tested really well. I don't know why, but I got visions of Pete Werner, who I hated at Ohio State, who's been a very productive linebacker with the Saints. One of those guys where I'm like, damn, I guess I was wrong. Like, I still don't like him, but he's productive, so we'll go with it. I'm not sure where he goes because he tested really well. That'll shoot him up the boards. Linebacker class is a little weird. If you looked at my picks, we had a couple guys. I think I picked the kid from Penn State. Yeah. Like Edge Cooper, I think is a stud. He's a freaking missile at linebacker. He's a hard hitter. He closes on guys in the open field like crazy. He's a good pass rusher. He's a good spy linebacker. He is the ideal anti-Lamar Jackson linebacker. He is the Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah of this draft, but bigger, hits harder, rocket of a linebacker. But I'm curious to see where he goes. And I think that when it comes to Peyton Wilson, you look at the speed and you're like, that's great. His testing was great. I'm not super familiar with his game at this point. So like the fits I had listed right now are based on need, and it's Panthers. I think pairing with him and Cole Holmcomb with the Steelers would be really interesting. Vikings, because they need to restock that group, and the Rams because they need to restock that group. But I think he can go anywhere and make a difference. Not sure which round he goes. Feels like a guy who tested well enough to be a first-round pick, but because the need at linebacker is not as prevalent as in previous years, he might end up being an early second-round pick and just be a day 2 guy, and somebody gets good value on him because there's just so much talent, especially in the offensive side of the ball, that some of these talented defenders are going to end up being day 2 picks that would be day 1 picks in other drafts.
Well, Dan Campbell surprised everybody last year when he took a linebacker so high in the draft. So who knows? Maybe
he was an all-combine guy. He was.
There you go.
It was not a good class.
Exactly. Nick, you're just a kid from Akron, right?
Yes.
Is LeBron your GOAT or what route do you go with that?
For sure. Not even. I went to the same high school as LeBron. In fact,
oh wow,
this football right here, same area. That's where I went.
Oh wow.
I was 7 years behind LeBron. I watched LeBron from the time he was a freshman in high school. I used to go to his games when he was in high school. I was at his first MVP ceremony because he had it at the high school when I was in school. I wrote about it for ESPN's like high school publication at the time, which was like my first national byline, which is a big moment for me, a really fond memory for me. I was downtown in Cleveland in 2016 when they beat the Warriors in Game 7, and I was in the streets partying with everybody else after they won. That we partied so long the bars ran out of beer at one. I walked into a bar and I was like, "Let me get 4 Miller Lights," and the dude just looks at me and goes, "Hey, we're out of beer." I was like, "What?" Like, we ran out of beer.
Is that even possible?
Yeah, it was on a Sunday on Father's Day, apparently. I've seen his whole journey. Like I remember when Dick Vitale was calling his games in high school when they played Oak Hill and they played Mater Dei and Darryl Strawberry's kid and all that stuff. Like I followed him from the time he was a freshman all the way to now. And he brought my city in Cleveland a championship and ended the drought here. And I had an up close and personal, I had multiple interactions with him. When he was a junior in high school, I had a CYO game. And afterward, we were at the gym because my sister had a game there and LeBron's shooting. He's got the bleachers are pushed up against the wall and LeBron's got his back on the bleachers, shooting threes, just drilling one after another. And I was like, oh my God, this kid's incredible. I mean, like beyond NBA range, just knocking him down. And he walked up to me after and somebody didn't have anything for him to sign. So they handed him an orange, like a fruit. And he signed the orange. And I had my score sheet from my game that I played earlier and he signed it. I still have it laminated. Nice. And it's like a pristine signature because he had just started signing autographs. I have the cover when he was on Sports Illustrated, when he was on ESPN, the magazine. I still have the original copies of all of those preserved. I have a plaque downstairs. I got LeBron bobbleheads back here. I got like 9 LeBron jerseys. I mean, I've got LeBron 2s, LeBron 3s, LeBron 10s, Soldier 10, Soldier 11, 15s, everything in my closet right now, just off the top of my head. He is my GOAT for sure. I know he doesn't have as many rings as Jordan. He also never got a Scottie Pippen. He also took his team to the finals in his 4th or 5th season, 2007, which was an incredible moment for the city of Cleveland at that time. Jordan didn't even get to the playoffs till year 7. Jordan had an incredible team. LeBron did not have an incredible team until he went to Miami. And I think that we cannot overlook that fact. And the fact that LeBron has not only lived up to the expectations, which were incredibly high, but exceeded them, been, blemish free throughout his career, and has done so much to help the city of Akron and the kids there. He's got his own school there. He's got another thing called House 330, where he's created a safe space for people in the community to go to in a semi-tough neighborhood that's not too far away from where I went to high school. He's got a production studio. He's doing all these things. He's a good dad. And he was a dad when he was really young. Like, let's not forget that. He was like 20 years old when he had his kid. We cannot overlook all of this and just compare him based on rings with Michael Jordan, who by the time he was LeBron's age was toast, was washed. LeBron's still one of the top 5 players in the NBA, and he's almost 40 years old. And the fact that he broke 40,000 points comes as no surprise, because other than a few times he's gotten hurt, he's been the most consistent player I think we'll ever see. And nobody gets to year 21 and plays as well as he does. He is the best player ever, and I'll stand on that forever.
and he rarely got hurt up until when he came to the Lakers. So
Yeah, that
I
groin
mean,
injury. Yeah, but the
yeah,
Lakers were
yeah,
also like they shut him down because
yeah.
they
They
were
weren't,
cooked
yeah,
anyway.
they
Won a
weren't,
title
they
in
weren't.
2020. I'm happy about
Yeah.
that.
If anything, I'm mad at the Lakers for their managerial malpractice with not surrounding him with shooters and just letting him cook.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem.
Well, just another kid from Akron, Nick Shook. Thank you so much. You guys can follow him on Twitter at the Nick Shook. Make sure you guys check it out. Nick, thank you so much for jumping on, for taking questions, for doing everything. Oh, there you go. This segment has to be on Twitter and go viral. There you go.
Hey, look, guys, I this is a blast. Thanks for having me on. A ton of fun. I'd love to come on again. Thanks for having me.
We'd love
Thank
to
you,
have
Nick.
you on, Nick. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Gilbert, that was definitely awesome having
Yeah.
Nick on.
I'm glad he
Definitely.
talked for like 30 minutes because I was like, are you sure, man? You've been all week in Indy, and I guess he was recharged, man. So I don't know. No, that was
He
awesome.
would I know,
I learned a
and
lot.
I felt bad like we kept on going and everything, and I was just like, oh, and then he's like, yeah, let's keep on doing it. I'm like, oh, okay, let's do it. So definitely awesome again. Thank you, Gilbert, for having him come on. Dennis,
Yeah, we used to
an
work
awesome
together,
show.
so that's my guy right there. It's good to see him succeed at NFL Network.
What was so what was it? So you keep on bringing on people that you guys were
Yeah.
kind of like
It-
the Washington
I was gonna say, yeah, the Washington,
squad of
whatever
2012
coaching staff.
or 13. Yeah, like you guys had you had Nick Shook, you had Tyler
Tyler,
Dragon,
Manuk was with the LA Times.
Nuke. Oh, I actually saw him last week.
Oh, at the boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said,
I
by the
know I'm
way,
blanking, but there's a lot of people, to be honest. Every time I see people from those days, and like we were the back row, bro. Like when you walked into the old NFL Network studios, we were the back row. And I kid you not, Tyler and Nick used to always argue about Madden, but they always agreed on LeBron James. So at least they got that. But it was a kind of a star-studded lineup back in 2014.
You know, it's funny. Speaking of that, Manuk was like, and honestly, like when I hear this, I'm like, oh wow, like Manuk was like, hey, you guys killed it. Now jumping over to the Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney stuff real quick.
Yeah.
He's like, bro, you guys were on that. Like, he's like, honestly, you guys are growing. You guys are killing it. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm like, oh, we definitely appreciate that. He's like, no, you got like, he's like, you kind of pissed some people off with the video that you guys got. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, we were right there.
Wait, what do you say?
No. He just like, well, I mean, obviously we were the ones that had the video. So.
Okay, so people getting mad like, why these guys don't even cover boxing? Supposedly, got the 1 million views.
Well, no, he wasn't the one that somebody else told me that there at the presser that I got introduced to. They were like, yeah, you guys. Some boxing people were like, what? How did these guys get that video? And I'm like, we were there. I mean,
ready for the moment.
Exactly. So
I think about that day a lot. Like, obviously it was luck being there at the right time to get Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia shoving each other. But hey, we reacted properly. It was breaking news to us. We had every angle of that video. We posted right away, headlines, descriptions, and that's why we blew up for 1.4 million views. So yeah, whoever's mad, go ahead and like the video.
It's funny too. Speaking of that, I was owed one because a couple of years ago, Usman and oh my God, he's Usman and ponytail. He has longer hair. Masvidal, my bad. Yeah, Masvidal. They went at it at Radio Row, and I was like watching, and I'm like, crap, I should have had like my phone out or whatever. There you go. I got repaid with this one. Exactly.
Hey,
but
I know Nick was bragging about LeBron James, but I actually thought about Kobe Bryant in that moment. It's like, put in the work and you'll be ready for your moment. We were.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you're 100% right on that one. Again, guys, thank you guys for the questions. Thank you guys for dropping that. Gilbert, the presser was pretty interesting just because, Gilbert, they have somebody ready to go just in case if somebody pulls out of this fight.
Oh, really? Is it Barbosa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so you're basically already kind of thinking somebody's gonna pull out, and then you get all the stuff with I don't know if you've seen everything that's been going on as of late, but like Ryan started tweeting out weirdo stuff, and everybody's like, well, what the hell's going on? And then Ryan, I don't know if you saw this, Gilbert, but this morning he posted this video just real quick.
I have not seen it.
It's me, Ryan. I'm coming on here to explain what's going on. I'm not in possession of my phone. I can't get access to my Instagram. My cards are locked. And I'm just being real.
Can't raise it.
I'm being real
Oh.
taken advantage. And I personally wanted just to send out a video to the people that love me and my fans and family that's concerned that I'm okay. I'm not dead. I believe in Jesus. All those are lies. And, you know, they try to put me in jail. They're blocking my cards. I can't access my money. Nobody's hitting me back. I don't know what's going on, but just know I'm okay. Look.
So, did you see what happened? Like somebody hacked his account or what?
Like they were just posting weird stuff. Like, I
don't know if it's
what,
like a tactic to promote the fight, or is there really, really something going on with Ryan Garcia, and it's kind of concerning about the fight.
well, he deleted some of the stuff that was tweeted out, but then you see right here, Ryan tweeted this out a couple of hours ago. He put, "Believe it or not, the fight is still on. See you in Brooklyn. 420 Barclays tickets on sale."
Imagine
So
trying
I
to
don't
buy
know.
tickets for this.
I don't know if it's a tactic or what it is, but then hold on. Then his ex-wife,
Oh, I think I saw this one.
yeah, his ex-wife posted this on social media this morning. She put, if all my followers who are believers can please pray for Ryan. We're not together and I've been in contact with him, and he may seem fine, but he's not. I know in my heart he is being heavily oppressed. This is not a troll. I'm genuinely concerned, and so is all his family members. We are not part of any of this, and want him to get better. Pray for him. So,
man,
I don't know. And then even Devin Haney like tweeted out stuff. So
yeah, I saw that he was gonna like not go to the LA presser because like he's just sees a bunch of dumb crap from Ryan Garcia, but he went. He's a professional.
yeah, he was there. But I mean, it just it was interesting kind of to see what's going on. And then I think it was Ryan's dad already came out and said he was fine, or well, you know what's funny? Ryan started beef with Sean Strickland, the UFC fighter.
He keeps trying to fight Sean O'Malley. He's trying to fight, I forget, somebody else, and he keeps saying Dana White hit me up. I'm like, you got the biggest, well, not the second biggest fight of your career, and you're not prepared for Devin Haney.
Yeah, here, well, it's TMZ, so take it for whatever way you want. Ryan Garcia's dad said he's okay. The boxing star is okay amid bizarre social media activity. So
yeah, hopefully it's good. You know, he's a friend of the show. He's been on here twice. Obviously, we got him for the sit-down interview besides the shoving there. So, but we all know with Ryan Garcia's history, he's had to take a couple breaks because of mental health issues, and so hopefully he's doing okay. This is the most important part, but it's a little concerning. We have to promote a big-time fight. And honestly, Fernando, like I give him a lot of credit because he's the one really selling this fight. Like, yeah, Devin Haney's a name, but he's not the pay-per-view kind of name, and Ryan Garcia is. So shoving him in at the Super Bowl, talking all this crap, whatever he's doing on IG, he knows how to sell a fight, but maybe he's going a little too overboard. Maybe that could be kind of like, hey, he's just trying to promote the fight a little too far, and everything's okay, or maybe there is real issues, and that could be really concerning too.
Well, and I mean, during the presser, it was just weird because Ryan's mom was the one getting involved with Bill Haney and Devin, and then his dad was doing stuff too. And then Ryan was like telling somebody in the crowd, like, "How about I go up there and F you up?" And then Devin's like, "You ain't gonna do it." And the thing is that we all know Devin's a good guy, like he's a good kid. And here he kind of took a twist where he kind of went heel a little bit, and he started poking at Ryan, like he's like, "What the F is wrong with your voice?" Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, "You got to stop doing all that coke and all that stuff." So it was just, and then Mario Lopez kind of lost control as well. Like, he was asking strange questions, and I'm kind of like, that's not the way they should be doing it. But the one thing that I thought was funny too is Bernard Hopkins is like, you have reporters here, and then you have Instagram reporters, and I died of laughter. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I was like, that's actually pretty funny. He's like, if any of you ask me anything about anything that's not this fight, I will not answer it. Like, I'm straight up, and I'm like, This
People
is
are getting
chaos.
tired of the antics.
Yeah, and then they showed both of them showed up about an hour and 20 minutes late. I'm kind of used to the NFL being like bang, 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 bang. Here it's like, well, they are the team. They are the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots. Like they're the teams. Like they're the ones that are gonna show up. And then Ryan showed up on a horse. I'm like, what is going on? Like, and then I just thought it was really strange. Just the whole thing.
Can you do the zoom in on the video? I'm all thrown off now how far we are.
Oh yeah, my bad. My bad.
No, but everything about it,
I'm
I'm glad you kind of got to see a boxing news conference or whatever world tour, whatever they want to call it. It's a lot of chaos, unorganized. But yeah, but I feel like boxing needs this big fight because we haven't really talked about anything since Crawford Spence. That was in July. Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, and what was that in April of last year?
April of last year.
So credit to Ryan Garcia for making big time fights because the sport needs it. Like who the hell knows what's going on with Canelo Alvarez? Like he needs to promote a fight for Cinco de Mayo, and it's March 4th, and he has no opponent. So
and he held up this fight.
Yeah, and he moved it to Brooklyn from Vegas because supposedly Canelo wanted May 5th in Las Vegas. He doesn't even have an opponent. He doesn't even have a promoter. Not just that,
these two kids are from California. Like
they wanted to be on the West Coast.
Yeah,
it would have been cool in LA or Vegas. But,
well, and the thing is that the Lakers and the Clippers are holding Staples Center hostage. And then the Vegas, obviously, with the Canelo fight. And then they said, well, what about going down to the StubHub? And they said, well, no, Ryan doesn't like fighting outdoors. So the Brooklyn Nets just fired their head coach. So they're like, hey, come over here. We got a good stadium for you guys. Come and do it over here.
What'd you say?
The Brooklyn Nets just fired their coach. So they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, but like, to me, I feel like whoever Canelo fights, if it's not David Benavidez, it's not going to be a fight as big as Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. And that says a lot about Ryan Garcia's kind of drawing. But yeah, if he fights maybe a Bivol more there, or we're saying best pound for pound boxer. It could be Bivol or maybe Beterbiev from Russia. Those guys need to fight, by the way. Bivol and Beterbiev. I got to say his name properly. My bad. Beterbiev. But yeah, obviously you got Terrence Crawford. I think Crawford be my number one. But if Canelo doesn't fight a David Benavidez or a Bivol, like I don't really care. And like I'd rather watch Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, but then Ryan Garcia is going through it right now, and I don't know how I feel about that fight. But we're gonna watch Canelo fight, but it just sucks that he was kind of in the way for the younger guys. Yeah, that's right. Beterbiev. I gotta get it right. Beterbiev, whatever, Moy. You can scold me there, but he is from Montreal. Not Montreal, but he is based training there. And he's had a couple fights there, Moy. Have you gone, by the way? Because there's a couple times I see him fighting out there.
I'm concerned about boxing just because we just saw Ngannou beat
he dropped Tyson Fury.
Yeah, but Tyson Fury ended up winning the fight, but let's be honest. Ngannou was the one, and then Ngannou's probably going to beat Anthony Joshua on Friday.
Really? You think so? Yeah. I'm always a boxing bias guy, so I think boxing is going to be MMA. But Fury and Joshua have suspect chin, so I see why, especially Joshua. So maybe he could catch him a couple times. Because
I mean, we all saw what Andrew Ruiz
right? Saturday.
Yeah, I thought it was Friday, but
it could be Friday. It's in Saudi Arabia. But actually, Fernando, you're not too.
Because I wouldn't want to compete with the O'Malley fight on Saturday if I was.
Yeah, with the different time zones. But you might have a point. You got me thinking. We're having like a rapid fire of combat sports, but which is good. And we have a lot of viewers or subscribers now from the combat sports world. So if you're watching for the first time, I know you had to go through the NFL for a bit, but we'll do more combat sports here. But you know what? You're not too far off now because Joshua doesn't have the skills that Fury has. So Fury could kind of get away from the power from Ngannou. Joshua really can't. So maybe you're right. You might be onto something for an upset. But I don't want to see that because I'm a boxing guy. If you come to boxing, you better respect the sport. But Ngannou's taking it seriously, so I like that.
I saw Ngannou hit one of the guys from Jackass in the nuts. He was wearing a cup, and the dude had a bruise. So I think if you haven't seen that clip, you need to watch. Like that clip is gnarly. Like he almost broke the cup. So yeah, that dude is.
Real quick, shout out to Joe Morley for his comment here. I am always 100% right. Thank you.
Joe Morley is hilarious. That guy, his videos on TikTok are literally the talk of like most of my group chats. Like people are like, "Oh, here goes your boy again," and I just start laughing. But yeah, Gilbert, I hope this fight gets made. I hope that Ryan is in a good headspace because obviously I want to see this fight at 100%. I want to see what both of these guys can do. And because I mean, there were some hecklers in the crowd, and like some people were like, "Oh, well, Ryan has weak ribs," and then some other guys like, "Well, Haney doesn't have any power." So let's be real about this.
That fight's a little more even than the Tank Davis one. And
yeah.
By the way, Ryan Garcia, I don't know who convinced them, or maybe Mayweather, to leak the footage of Haney and Tank sparring, and Tank's power was really, a problem for Haney. He didn't get wobbled. Ryan Garcia kept saying, "I seen the video. You got wobbled." It wasn't that far, but you could tell Haney was backing up.
He's pimping you.
Yeah, you're the famous line there. But Devin Haney's a technician. He has defensive. He's a defensive fighter. But if you're backed up like that with Tank Davis's power, like I can see Tank beating him now. But that was years ago. You never know how these guys change. But Ryan Garcia is not as, I guess, not as boxing savvy as Tank Davis is. He knows how to time a counter. People don't give him credit for that. His uppercuts are well timed, good defense. He kind of just waits it out and makes you kind of go at him. So I like that from Tank. Garcia doesn't really have that, but he has a nice left hook. And if you have a suspect chin, you could tell that Devin Haney has issues with power. Hey, maybe Garcia could be a live underdog, but he's got to get that mental space right.
No, and I mean, honestly, like that's the thing. They were both kind of like discussing who Tank Davis beat up more, and I'm kind of like, are you guys are you guys shitting me with this? Like that's what you guys are like. Oh, I stood tougher against Tank.
At one point, Devin Haney was like, "Bro, the whole world saw you get knocked out by Tank. Shut up." So I kind of respect him for saying that.
But then like Devin Haney goes up there and he's like, "Oh," or Bill Haney, and he's like, "Well, we know he won a bunch of championships when he was I won this many. Oh, we beat him. He beat us when he was younger, but then we beat him when we were older." Who gives a rat's ass, dude? Like, just stay focused on what's going on right now. So I just there's a lot of kind of phooey, I guess, but in my opinion, like somebody needs to take Ryan's phone away. And well, I guess they already did. But somebody really needs to take,
bro. Like, chill out now.
Yeah, no, you should be in
camp. Tour's over.
You should be in camp. Like you should be getting ready for this
2 months for camp, and it's April 20th is not 2 months away. It's coming up.
That's
quickly.
why I thought that this was a weird time to have all those press conferences. Like I would have done it maybe in January, had all that, and then them get into their training camps in February.
Remember, Mayweather held it up because he wanted him to fight Rolly Romero, and it didn't work out.
Well, yeah, and he said that he didn't. You know what? He said it on First Take that he's like, I went against Floyd. He's like, Floyd wasn't giving you the credit that you deserved, and I thought, no, Devin Haney is the move. So,
I honestly feel like it was a little selfish on Mayweather's part because Romero was promoted by Leonard Ellerby, who we had on the show, and Mayweather. So they get the bigger cut if Ryan Garcia is fighting Rolly Romero. And then it would have been if Rolly somehow beats Ryan Garcia, he's gonna fight Devin Haney, which is more money for Mayweather Promotions. So I felt like it was more in their best interest.
And yeah, they got to fix the sport because then you have Jake Paul over here calling out Canelo after his fight.
Hey, finally, people don't care. So I've noticed that people are starting to care less about Jake Paul. Good, we're done. We're tired of it.
Well, Ryan Garcia and him FaceTimed after the fight, and he's like, "I'm down to fight you. Like, I'm gonna put it on you." I'm like, bro,
Jake Paul gets to a point where he's gonna fight an actual like legit contender. I'll start caring, but we're done with the side shows.
You saw he took the guy down in 2 minutes. The dude that he fought, like it was a nobody. Like
fighting these people.
I don't know. He should fight Dan Diego next. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about this. What did you think about?
Real quick, it could be the last one on boxing. I also want to hear your thoughts real quick on WWE before we leave, Fernando. So I guess they couldn't agree on opponent, and there's stuff I'm unsure about PBC. We'll see how it goes with PBC on the March 30th card. Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu. Check out the Tim Tszyu interview here on Compas on the Beat. We're trying to get
Rolly Romero.
We're hoping to get maybe Keith Thurman, Rolly Romero, who's fighting Pitbull. I saw those pictures on the poster.
He tried to show his genitals on the program.
Check out the Rolly Romero interviews. You will not be disappointed. And I saw the promo poster, by the way, of Rolly and And Pitbull look a little heavy. So when you call him a pug, baby is not far off. You know, us Mexicans, we like to eat. So got to be disciplined, Pitbull Cruz. Hopefully we get him on the show. That'd be cool. But yeah, there's something going on with PBC. It seems kind of strange that they both said, you know what, if we don't want to work together, there's money to be made. I'm surprised PBC said go ahead and leave. Maybe, you know, the rumor was that he's gonna fight Jermall Charlo, the brother of Jermell, and nobody wanted to see that. So it could have been like, hey, Canelo, you don't want to fight David Benavidez. That's all we have is Jermall Charlo. And he said no, it won't sell. And they just said, we'll walk away. But the other, I guess, opponent supposedly like maybe Jaime Munguia, but he's with Golden Boy. Do you say Canelo give him Oscar de la Hoya money? I don't know about that. There's Edgar Berlanga, who is not a skillful fighter, has pop, but Canelo will destroy him. I like Berlanga, but he's not ready for that time. And I think he might be headed that way, because Eddie Hearn and Canelo Alvarez, Eddie Hearn is a promoter of Matchroom Boxing. They love to work together. He has a good relationship with Eddie Hearn, and that's the only guy he has right now for super middleweight to throw at him. He's not going to go fight Bivol or Beaterbie. There you go. I said it right finally. Shout out to Montreal. But yeah, I don't care. And whatever. He doesn't fight Dave Benavidez. I want to see Haney and Garcia way more. That didn't make sense.
I'm getting tired of that stuff. It's like, I won't fight a Mexican fighter. Like, dude, get out of here. Like, you need to do something.
Supposedly Benavidez said that he was willing to take like a 90-10 split. I don't know if I believe that, but come on, you got to take that fight. And I get Canelo's fought a lot of great people. I'm gonna call him like a coward or whatever. He's one of the greatest in my eyes. People are different. I think he's done enough for me. But come on, you're in the back end. You're just give the kid the chance. It's okay to not be undefeated. You know,
he's pulling the Mayweather. That's the thing. Mayweather at the end, he picked and chose. The only one that I remember Mayweather had a lot of trouble with was they had to fight twice. He picked him apart in the second one, but in the first fight, Mayweather had his face all God, who was it?
Talking about Maidana?
Yeah, Maidana. Yeah, he took it to Floyd in the first fight.
That guy's the smartest person, by the way, I come across in boxing, because he took it to Floyd, and he probably made maybe like $20 million the first time. Got a rematch, he got more money, probably another 30 mil, and then he retired. Like, he never saw him again. Like that guy ate too, like from Argentina. If I got 50 mil after 2 fights, I'm done too.
Yeah, because he fought the 2 times, and then he went with Manny Pacquiao, then he went Andre Berto, and then he went Conor McGregor. So I was surprised that one counted on the box rec. He wanted the 50-0. You know, he was gonna.
All right, Fernando, we got to get going, but real quick. Your tribal chief, I guess mine now too, because The Rock acknowledged him, and when I saw him doing "If You Smell," and it stopped, I was like, oh, they're about to go down, right? They're about to throw it down. And then he just said, acknowledge me, and he did it. What are your thoughts?
I think The Rock is a plant, and I don't know. I think they're playing the long game. I think next year's WrestleMania 41. There's rumors that it's going to be in Las Vegas. Well, hold on. There's rumors that it's going to be in Vegas next year at Allegiant Stadium. You need a big main event. That's a huge main event right there. I've kind of liked The Rock as a heel, because he came out and he's like, you know what's number 1 in Arizona? You die by crack and heroin. And I died of laughter. I'm
that's why he's my GOAT, man. The best on the microphone. He still got it at least.
Well, I thought he was the only thing is he does need a year. I can't see him wrestling in this. Well, they're going to wrestle in a tag team. It's going to be night 1. Gilbert, night 1. The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins as of right now. They have to decide. No. It's going to be a tag team match.
Oh, really?
So here we go. Night 1.
Okay, explain to me.
Night 1, The Rock challenged Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes to a tag team match.
Okay.
If The Rock and Roman win, the bloodline can be there no matter what on night 2 for the main event. If Cody wins or Seth win, then that means there can be no bloodline there. But I still think the bloodline are going to be involved. One of the guys, I can't remember his name right now, but one of the Roman Reigns Rock relatives just got hired by WWE. He's not a bloodline member, so he could appear and screw it all up for Cody. I think something huge is going to happen night 2. Whether it's Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out and helps out Cody Rhodes, whatever. I don't know, but I'm expecting fireworks. This is the first Triple H WrestleMania, Nick Khan WrestleMania. I expect it to be humongous. I expect there to be fireworks. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be badass to have Roman and The Rock in the same ring together. And then night 2, Roman is still going to fight. So they're going all out. They lost CM Punk. They've lost some other pieces. They're still going 100% with this. I'm actually really excited. The thing is, night 2, Gilbert, you're going to get 2 championship matches, Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, and then Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. So they're going to put both of those titles on night 2, and night 1 is going to be The Rock and Roman against Cody. And but something interesting, something huge is going to happen. I don't know what it will be.
But we really don't know what's going on. That's what you want, right? It's not an obvious main event.
Exactly what you want. The intrigue, you want what's going on. I think The Rock is a plant as of right now because he doesn't throw up the one. He does this.
Yeah.
So either he's
cannot forget that it's like this.
Either he's taking the hits to the head or he's doing something like you're gonna lose.
He's gonna do it next time like this, like, or is it?
Yeah, something like that. But
remember the Bautista, like the thumbs up?
Yeah, and then go like that. Something's gonna happen though, Gilbert. But I'm really amazed with the way they're doing this. I mean, they had to pivot. As soon as The Rock got pushback from the crowd. We want Cody. They had to pivot. They had to do something else. I think they're doing the best thing possible, but I still don't believe that Cody's going to beat The Rock or Roman Reigns, to be honest. I still think Roman's going to win.
He's got to complete a story.
Well, that's the thing. So John Cena was talking about him, and he said he was on with I can't remember his name right now. Chris Van Lett. He's a reporter who covers. Yeah. So he said that Roman Reigns is on his Mount Rushmore. And he's like, well, the way Roman has carried this company in the last few years, and yes, he gets flack because he's never there, this, that, whatever. But the way Roman's carried this company and the way everybody really has gotten attracted to the tribal chief, it's something unmatched. So I still think that the WWE knows that he's their meal ticket. He's the number one guy. I feel like something's going to happen to where Cody's not. I just finishing the story. Yeah, that's cool. But then where does that put Roman? So I'm kind of in the mindset of Roman keeps the championship because I think they want him to break Hulk Hogan's record. And he breaks it, I think, in September. So maybe Cody loses it at Survivor or wins it at Survivor Series, whatever. But and The Rock screws him at that point. But as of right now, I think Roman is going to retain and something else is going to happen. But I think they're trying to replace because I told you I did a TikTok on this and I got some pushback and I still get pushback from fans. But I'm like, what if he broke Bruno Sammartino's record? He would have to hold it till 2028. But why not? I mean, that's.
Gilbert, I think they got to be careful because you don't want it to get stale.
I know. But it's not. It's
not. You're right. It's hot though.
And by the way, shout out to Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is getting inducted, rightfully so, at WrestleMania not WrestleMania, but he's getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. He's been a huge part of everything that WWE's done. He has done great stuff with CM Punk, with Brock Lesnar, now you can't say that name, and then now Roman Reigns. So what Paul Heyman has added to WWE all these years is incredible, and rightfully so. I think it's incredible that he's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. But I truly still think, Gilbert, and Paul Heyman said it last year, we're still in the third inning of this. I think they're only in the fifth inning. I think they still have a lot to talk about with this, but I'm definitely excited. I think they're doing a great job with it. And there's also obviously other great matches that are going to take place, but we want to know about this one. This is it. I think this is something incredible, and they're doing something amazing with the product. But wow, I'm just really, I'm really liking what WWE is doing right now, and they're unmatched right now.
Yeah, and credit to Paul Heyman for making the Hall of Fame, well deserved. But I was laughing at his facial expressions when Roman Reigns cut off The Rock. He's like, everybody was like that. We all had the same expression, so I'm glad Paul Heyman had it out there. So that was perfect. He's awesome.
It's so funny because in one of those, like, I don't know who it was, but I tell Dan all the time the way he's looking at Roman, like every time Paul Heyman looks at Roman, I'm always like, that's you and Justin Herbert, isn't it? He's like, always. He's like, I'll always have his back. And I just started laughing. Then obviously you post that that video on there of him defending Justin. But
Yeah.
I just think that WWE is doing a great job right now, and I really like what Triple H and Nick Khan are doing. I think they're showing off a lot of talent. I think they're doing a lot of, and then again, I'm going to be honest, The Rock said it on his video. I know it was 25 minutes long on Twitter, but The Rock said it. When Netflix made that deal about getting Monday Night Raw, who do you really think they want as the champion? Remember, when Fox cut that deal with WWE, they wanted Roman or Brock Lesnar. Well, at the time, they wanted Brock Lesnar over on SmackDown. Then they wanted Roman over on SmackDown. Now I think Netflix is probably saying, hey, we want the tribal chief on Netflix when Monday Night Raw happens. So Roman Reigns is the draw, man. So I think they're going to continue with him, and I know it'll piss some people off. What is it? The Cody Crybabies. I love Cody. I think Cody's been an incredible addition. I told you when they first signed Cody, I thought this is going to be incredible. I think Cody's a phenomenal talent. And then he's kind of like an EVP where he kind of works behind the scenes also and brings talent from AEW, brings talent from other places. So I think Cody's incredible, but I'm sure Cody, I mean, he won't say it, but I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but I'm just interested to see kind of where this goes. But I'm definitely excited about what's going on. And I'm also excited about what's happening here, Gilbert.
Yeah, I know. And real quick, I was going to say, I checked out Netflix. I don't even care about tennis, but I wanted to see how Netflix did a live sporting event with Rafael Nadal and some other guy. I forgot his name. But I'm like, oh, yeah, they're trying to do more live sports there. Obviously, Raw will be one of them for Netflix. But yeah, eventually we're gonna be hosting live events here. Compas on the Beat, like boxing. Imagine the Compas on the Beat being boxing promoters or wrestling promoters. Like we could put on a show. And today was a good start for that because we actually had a live show. Like we had segments and guests and we talked about the combine. We got together and just kind of have fun banter. Then we had Nick Shook on, who dropped a lot of knowledge. And then you gave us your takeaways for Garcia, Haney, some WWE, some MMA. We covered it all. So we try to do a little bit of everything here on Compas on the Beat, and we have a lot of subscribers that joined us. And eventually, for now, I think I want to do a video of how we kind of gain those subscribers, because a lot of people want to hear about the journey, and everybody wants to do their own channel. And it felt hard to get to 1,000 subscribers, and then off of one video, we're at almost 4,500 subscribers. So.
That'd be
shout out to the day one real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah. That'd be 3,000. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 3,000 in a month. That's yeah. And we've been busting our asses off to provide good content. So we're gonna capitalize on the moment. But shout out to everybody who joined the chat here. Obviously Moy, Dennis, Jorge, Joe, Morley, Mimsy watches. Appreciate you. Obviously we got our own channels up here in the comments too. But Leaf Morgan, I didn't even see her comment, and she's the one that talked to us after Garcia,
Ryan
Haney, and said shout out to you guys. We appreciate that. But yeah, I know that everybody likes a little bit of different things, like combat sports or football. But we're gonna try to do our best to kind of provide content in different areas, and we appreciate the support, the likes, and all that. So it was a fun debut of season 4, right, Fernando?
Yeah, no, exactly. And tomorrow, we will be back on at 4 p.m. It'll be all 4 of us. It'll be Dan and Dago, Vic, the producer, Gilbert, myself. We'll all talk about some combine stuff, some important headlines or storylines, heading into free agency and some other stuff. So, and then a little Love is Blind talk, obviously.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk a lot about that stuff. But yeah, tomorrow we will be live, all 4 of us. I know Jorge is a huge Dan and Dago guy. I'm telling you, I'm not gonna give anything away, but tomorrow should be having Dan and Dago back on is gonna be very interesting. I'm not gonna give anything away, but Gilbert, you need to be ready for tomorrow, because he has some stuff he has to say. But obviously we and honestly, we have a group chat and everything. That group chat was quiet for the 2 weeks. Why? Because we wanted to give Dan and Dago and Vic, the producer, some time off while they kind of obviously after a busy Super Bowl. And then Gilbert and I kind of took this over the last 2 weeks. Well, Dan's been posting like crazy on the Instagram, but
yeah, he's a good social media coordinator and promo person.
Yeah, I told him you should add that to the resume. He's like, could I? And I start laughing, but
he's doing it.
Yeah. So, but again, it truly couldn't be without them. It couldn't be done without you guys. So we definitely appreciate you guys. We're going to be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Make sure you guys tune in. He said, contract negotiations, pay Dan and Dago. He's gonna
I don't
love
know.
that.
I'm gonna make him wait. Not even a franchise tag. How about that? Tender.
Exactly.
Third round pick.
Exactly. Well, he'll say that he's the number 1 overall pick. But again, guys, we're so grateful for you guys. Thank you guys so much. And again, this is going to be the first of many episodes like this. Sometimes it'll just be Gilbert and myself. Sometimes we'll have guests on. We have some exciting stuff planned. We have some great guests that we cannot wait to bring on. So make sure you guys tune in. Make sure you guys hit the notification button so you guys know when we're dropping lives or dropping episodes, because we have a lot of content coming out. And again, don't forget to check out everything else. We have What's Up Bolts. Dan and Dago and I will be we're kind of on Khalil Mack, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Joey Bosa watch. But we'll try and release an episode out soon about where we think they go in free agency. I'm sure House of Horns will soon be dropping.
Wednesday, we're going to be live doing a free agency preview.
Yeah, there you go. So, we have a lot of stuff coming your way. And then, obviously, we have some surprises coming up pretty soon. We're hoping to be attending some cool events coming up soon. So, make sure you guys tune into that. But for the time being, again, thank you guys so much. This was a great day or great episode 1 of season 4. But we will be back tomorrow. Don't forget, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much for the time being. Gilbert, ¿sabes qué? Vámonos.
Yeah, on that note, can't wait for Love is Blind talk tomorrow. Again, 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern. And I'm sure Moy appreciates the earlier time. He's on the East Coast. I'm being in Montreal. But yeah, should be a good show. And again, thank you everybody for support. What are you here? No, I was like, I'm trying to leave. I had to get through with that one. You know what? Real quick for Mimsy here, because she had a question. I'm not surprised, but because it happened a couple weeks ago with the whole Sean Payton letting go of Russell Wilson. But to eat the dead money, I'm a little surprised about that. But Mimsy, we'll give you a better response in the near future. We appreciate you jumping on, and now we see Nancy on here too. So for the late crowd, but we appreciate everybody all.
Nancy, tomorrow 4 p.m. we are back. We're gonna jump on live. Make sure you're ready, Mimsy. We're gonna talk about you. That's a storyline that I actually have for tomorrow's show. Yeah, so make sure you tune in, because I have some interesting. All of a sudden, Russ is a freaking poor Russ. He poor guy. This that. No. Some of it was self-inflicted. Like let's not make him a freaking hero as well. Like get out of here with that. But
like their Broncos getting cut. I mean, sorry, Russell Wilson getting cut by the Broncos.
Yeah. So we'll definitely jump into all that tomorrow. Broncos are spiraling. Yeah, there's a lot of pushback on Sean Payton. So I'm definitely interested in that. I don't know if he's reacting. I think he was reacting. Moy's reacting to the Dan and Dago music hitting, but
I know I got scared. Yeah, I'm not ready for that. When people break the music out of nowhere and the rest was always like,
yeah, exactly. That's why I thought it was amazing.
Like in the ring.
That was remember that was the one where Roman and Money in the Bank, when Cena comes back after all those years. And he's kind of like, whoa, like what, really? And it's so that's awesome.
As Ryan Garcia said, you look like a ghost.
Yeah, exactly. Con la cheve vato, ready for the stream. There you go. Nancy's going to be ready for it. So, all right, guys, we appreciate you guys so much. But Gilbert, ¿sabes qué? For now, really, vámonos.
Ya nos vamos, pues. Vámonos.